up, guys? How are you? Hope you're all fine. Welcome to my channel. In this week's video, we're gonna be trying something a little bit different from what I'm used to post. As you can see, the format is a little bit different because I'm thinking about maybe trying to post at least, we're gonna be seeing how it goes, but maybe once a month, we're gonna be trying to post a podcast. So it's not gonna be a video, but just something that you can play in the background and just go on doing your things. And I'm gonna be there talking to you. I'm a talker. I love to talk, and I also love to create YouTube videos. I'm very creative, so whenever I'm creating a video, I just love the whole process of thinking of what I'm gonna do and creating the visual aesthetic and all the things that go into it. But I also love to talk, and because I'm a small YouTuber and I don't have that many people watching me, I always felt like I couldn't talk for a very long time in my videos because they would be so long that people would get bored and they would click out. So I would always have to structure and choose very carefully all the words that I was gonna say in order to make the video short. And it kind of cut me out, So I was thinking that maybe we could try to do a podcast every single month, or we're gonna be seeing, maybe I do it twice a month, maybe we're gonna be trying. But yeah, so let me know if you like the idea or not. In this podcast, we're gonna be just talking about health and how to improve yourself and how to get better and, just self-improvement things because I love them. And I'm someone that likes to help other people. So hopefully with this podcast and overall with my YouTube videos in general, I hope I can get to help other people to improve themselves and feel their best. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy it just as much as I'm sure I'm gonna be enjoying filming all these podcasts. And without further talking, let's hop into the actual podcast, or what we came here to listen. So if you clicked on this title, it's either because there are two options. It's either because you have an exam in the next couple of days, like in 3-4 days you have an exam, or option two, you have the exam literally tomorrow and you're freaking out because you have a lot of things to study and you're just overwhelmed and you're trying to find the easiest and the quickest way possible to get all this information inside your head. So you're just there looking for different videos, and there's where I appeared. So let me tell you, first of all, that I'm part of this second group. I hate to study many days ahead of the exam. I probably have a mental blockage into this idea where I just tell myself that I can't do it. Therefore, anytime that I actually try to do it, my brain is like, no, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. If I remove this mental blockage or this idea inside my head that I can't do it, I probably would be able to do it. But I just can't get this idea out of my head. To be honest, I haven't even tried. Like, I've been doing this whole studying the day before the exam for my whole life, and it has worked just fine. So why change something that that it actually works? So yeah, but probably if I removed that idea, I would be able to study many days ahead, and I would be just fine, less stressed, because we kind of just say, no, I'm gonna do it the day before, therefore I don't have to do the work for too many times, I don't have to stress about it and blah blah blah. But we actually do stress about it because we're all the time thinking, oh my god, I have that exam, oh my god, it's a lot of information, but we do nothing about it. So it's just there in the back of our head, that little voice being like, you haven't studied. Oh my god, you're gonna fail. And it's just there in the back. And you're trying to ignore it, but it just won't shut up until the day before. And you then start to take a look at all the things that you have to study. And then that little voice is like, I told you so, you had to study. And you're like, shut up, I'm doing it now. Anyways. Let's ignore all this little moment. But yeah, I'm that kind of person. And as I've said, it has worked fine. And I'm currently studying my last year of a master. So I'm studying a master in marketing and advertising. And yeah, as I've said, it's my last year, probably my last year in school. I'm probably not gonna, for the moment, I'm thinking about taking a break in school. But we will see. Maybe next year I'm like, oh no, let's add another year or two. We'll see. Anyways, not the matter here. Point is, I've been doing this for quite some time, and ever since I found this new system of studying, I've been doing it for the past, I don't know, like 6 years or something. And ever since I started, practicing or doing this method of studying, my grades have gone up and they haven't gone down ever since. And that's saying something. Like, through my whole different stages of studies and school and everything, I've been able to maintain my high grades in everything, no matter the different subject, no matter the different teacher, it doesn't matter anything. So I wanted to share with you this method. Now, if you're thinking here that you're gonna get, because I'm here talking about how I studied the day before, and you're like, great, so, and she's studying a master, so it's a lot of information, blah, 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 and she's doing it the night before. So it must be so effortless and so easy, and no. Let me tell you, there's no way you're gonna be able to fit all that information that you have to get for the exam. There's no way to do it in an easy peasy way. Like, it's not magic. So just expect that. Now, but again, it's something that I do the night before. So it works, but you have to put on the work. But at least it just worked for one day, So yeah, now let's not try to talk for far too long, and let's get into the actual method. Now, you have an exam tomorrow. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to grab your textbook or whatever it is that you have, all the material and the information that you have to learn for tomorrow. And what you're going to do is grab a notebook. And this is the part where you have to do all the hard work. So this is the longest and more tedious part of the whole, method. But trust me, you can't take a shortcut. I've tried. Over the years, I'm such a lazy person, so I've always tried to, get a shortcut and do it in an easier way, faster way, blah, blah, blah. It never works. It has to be like this. And I'm going to be explaining to you why it's like this. So basically, you're going to grab your textbook and the notebook, and you're going to read the first paragraph. You're going to understand it in your head, and then you're going to write it down in the notebook with your own words. So use the words that you feel like you use inside your head. You know how chaotic our head is, and we sometimes talk in different languages, and we use different words, and just we understand ourselves, but nobody else would be able to understand what goes in our head. So you're gonna understand the paragraph, and you're gonna write it in your own words. Now here is 2 steps of memorization. The first one, you're reading that paragraph, and you're not just reading it. The typical thing that you read and your brain was not focused on what you were reading. So it's like, I just read a paragraph, but I have no idea what I just read. No, you're gonna read it and put your whole attention on it. That's the first time that information is gonna get inside your head. So you're gonna read it, you're gonna understand it, and then you're gonna write it on your notebook. And then when you write it on your notebook, it's gonna be the second time that information gets inside your head. So that's 2 times that you are trying to memorize just that paragraph. And when you write it in your notebook, you're gonna write it with your own words. And you can, use references. You can just, however you would write it to understand it. It's not something that you're writing for someone else to understand. No, it's something that you're writing for you to understand. And you're going to be explaining it the way that you would be explaining it to yourself, as in you didn't know about it, but now you know about it. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's the second time that you're getting that information inside your head. And then you keep on doing it with the rest of the information that you have to learn for tomorrow. And so, yeah, it's something that takes its time, but you're doing it twice. You might be thinking, oh, but I'm just, it's a waste of time because I'm here writing this on my notebook. It's not a waste of time, because while you're writing that in your notebook, your brain is also remembering it. Try also to use some highlighters to remember, keywords and dates and things like that. And also the different titles, put them in different colors. I have different colors for different subjects. So if I'm doing digital marketing, so it's a different color. And, depending on the subject, I have a specific color for it. And so it's just a different color scheme for each subject. And it works marvelously. It's important to also have colors and things. And you're going to be doing that for all the information that you have to learn for tomorrow. Again, this will take you I don't know, if you're quick, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how much information you have. But yeah, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it depends. I know it's a lot of work, but trust me, you're going to be like, I'm not wasting time. This is useless. Trust me. Then you're going to be, when you try to study it, you're going to find yourself that, oh yeah, because you're actually writing something that you actually understood. When someone tells you a gossip and you're really understanding what that person is telling you, you listen to it for just one time, and then all the information is retained in your head. And then if you go and tell your mom, your best friend, whomever it is, you go and you tell them that same gossip, and you remember all the details because it's something that you actually understood. And then you're telling that other person with your own words that same gossip, So that's key, especially with history and philosophy and things like that. You can't just attempt to memorize like a robot. So it's like, in 2009, no, you have to actually understand it. With history, you can just imagine that someone told you a very boring gossip, and you have to explain it to someone else. So you understand the story as it is. So at the beginning, someone went and offended whomever it is, and then that other person retaliated, and it's a story that you build, and that's the key to memorization. It's not just, obviously, like for example, some dates and things like that are some things that you have to memorize, or maybe not even that, because you can connect different events or dates or names or things to things that you already have in your life. Maybe if it's a date, you can be thinking, oh, so I don't know, 1988. So you think 8 means this to me. So I have to just remember that there's 2 8s because my birthday is the 8th, and then 19, well, it's easy. And things like that. You have to connect this kind of information. Or maybe I had a friend that used to say that her method of studying was to create a song. So she would use the rhythm to a certain song that she loved, and then she would grab all the information that she had to learn for the next day, and she would sing it to that song. And the lyrics would be the information that she had to learn. So the day of the exam, she would come to class, and in her head she would sing the song, and she would know what to write in the exam because she knew that information because she connected it to the song. You have to use all your tools. You have a lot of tools that you can use in order to remember things. Just connect them to random facts of your life, to names. Maybe the name is really weird, but then you connect it to someone, or you're like, this name sounds like that, and so you remember that word. It's just key to be able to make connections with things that you already have, and you know that you're going to be able to remember them. That way, it's easier to remember things or to memorize them. So that's this for the whole part. So as I've said, you have to make the work. I used to have, summaries of pages and pages and pages. Like I would go to class and I would have 7 pages, and people were like, oh my God, where do you get all this information? I'm like, it's just my words. So maybe I write something and I write it, in my own words. Therefore, It takes longer to explain it, but it's all important because it's in my head now. Then, once you got that, once you finished writing all the content that you have to learn for the exam, you only have, you can close your textbook because you have your notes, and you just have to study from those notes. Like, whenever I finish writing my notes, I close the textbook, I close my computer, I just stop looking at all those things, and I just focus on my notes, because everything that I have to learn and memorize is in my notes, and I don't need anything else. Then you can, start studying. It doesn't matter. Well, it's important to sleep, so if you finished late, I'm talking about my experience, so obviously you're gonna have to try. I'm telling you my way of doing it, and then you probably will adjust it to yourself. Maybe you're like, I can't do it this way, but maybe, take your ideas in this and adjust it to how you would be able to do it. I'm just telling you how I do it. So my mom, my whole life, has been telling me that the best time to study and to be able to retain information in our brain is after you sleep. Now, I'm not telling you go take a nap. You could, but like early in the morning, my mom has always told me that was the best time to study. I'm sorry for my voice. I'm a little bit sick, so my voice is gonna go up and down, and there's nothing that I can do. But yeah, so my mom always told me that, and when I was younger, I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to wake up like at 5 a.m. or something like that to study. And then old me started to wake up at like 2, 3 a.m. and study, because I actually found that was true. I know that every single culture, I'm Moroccan, and so I speak Arabic, but I also live in Spain, and I've lived, and I was born, and I live, and I've been my whole life in Spain. So I know that in Spanish and also in Arabic, they have a saying for how important it is to wake up early. So in Moroccan, in Arabic, we say, I'm going to say it in Arabic, and then I'm going to translate it, but they say that الفياق بكري بالذهب مشري, which means that the literal translation to that is that waking up early is bought with gold, which means that basically whenever someone wakes up early, they get to do a lot of things, and they are very successful, and it's a privilege. It's something that the lazy people, the people that don't want to achieve something or anything, they just wake up late in the day. But then anyone that wants to achieve something or wants to get something, they wake up early and they get to achieve it. Like by 9-10 in the morning, you're already very much accomplished in the day, and someone just literally opened their eyes. So that's the Arabic saying. And then in Spanish, they say a quien madruga Dios le ayuda, which means whomever wakes up early, God helps him. So basically the same thing, that basically if you wake up early, you get to achieve a lot of things, and you get to be successful and all those things. So it's safe to say that it's very well known that waking up early helps you achieve your goals and everything, and I have myself to prove that. So the way I do it is I write my notes the night before, and then I go to sleep. I try to sleep as early as possible because I wake up in the middle of the night to study. So obviously I need to get some hours of sleep, and trust me, the difference of trying to study something when you're, in the afternoon or during the night, that you've already been awake for so many hours and your brain has been already working and functioning for the whole day. So it's kind of a little bit tired. Therefore, it takes the brain a little bit more effort to be able to learn and memorize all the information that you're trying to get inside your head. But then you go to sleep. You sleep for whatever amount of hours you get to sleep. Sometimes it depends on, when you're in your finals and you have exams back to back, it's a little bit harder to get a lot of hours of sleep. But trust me, even just 1 hour of sleep, I've had it, okay? I'm not proud of it, but when you have all this stress and you're just really pushing towards passing your exams and everything, trust me, you get the energy out of I don't know where, but you get them from somewhere. Because I've been studying and sleeping for 1 hour, 2 hours a day, and doing this every single day for, the period of time that we had to do all these exams back to back, and I was just fine, okay? Then you get to sleep afterwards, and it's just fine. But again, that's just on me. I'm not by any way I'm trying to recommend you people to not sleep or anything. It's very important, and we're gonna do another episode. I'm someone that likes to learn things about, different things, and one of the common denominators in anything, if you search for I want to lose weight, they tell you have to sleep. If you look for why I'm in depression, they tell you maybe you're lacking sleep. If you look for anything you look at, they are going to tell you that in order to accomplish it, you need to sleep. So sleep is essential. No need to question it or anything. I'm just saying that sometimes in these hard times, it's more of a luxury that we can't have, but it always passes, and you get the best sleep after the exams, and it's amazing. So yeah, anyways, I'm not, again, just reminding you, I'm not telling you not to sleep or anything, but I'm just sharing my experience where I had days where I would sleep just an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, during multiple days in a row because I had exams, but it all worked out. I'm just saying how powerful our body it is, that even with sleeping just 1 hour, when I would wake up, I would find myself refreshed. And trust me, it's just a huge game changer. You try to remember something before you go to sleep, and it takes you 3, 4, 5 times more to memorize it then, and then you sleep and you wake up and you try to memorize that same information after, and it's so easy. So take this and try to, maybe if you decide that you don't like my method and you're like, no, I don't like it this way, maybe just take this part and just, instead of obviously waking at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it is, maybe just wake up an hour before you're actually used to wake up. So if you wake up at 6, then make the sacrifice and wake up at 5 a.m. and try to go through your notes, and you're gonna see how amazing it is. So yeah, that's basically my strategy for studying. It's basically just trying to find ways to make your brain work. So when you first read your textbook, that's the first time that knowledge is getting inside your head. Then you try to understand it inside your head, so you're making it, work inside your brain. That's the second time. Then you grab that information and you write it in your notes with your own words. So it's not just copying what the textbook is saying. No, you write it with your own words. And so that's the third time that you get that information working inside your head. So it's more likely, they tell you that a fact, if you remember it or you think about it in your head like more than once, it's more likely for it to stay in your head. So here you have it, like you read it, that's once. You try to summarize it and put it into your own words and understand it inside your head, that's the second time. And then you write it in your notebook, that's the third time. And then you go and sleep, and then when you wake up more refreshed and your brain has had time to, take a little break. I know that our brain and our body never take a break, but you get to rest and everything, and then you wake up more refreshed and you grab your notes and again you try to read it, and this time obviously more like memorize it. So you read it and and trust me, it stays. It actually stays. So you just have to repeat it multiple times. You can also try to do it out loud instead of just saying it inside your head. You can try to explain it to someone. So imagine that you have someone in front of you and you're trying to explain it to them. So You're the teacher. When I was younger, I used to play like I was the teacher. I was still in primary school and everything. And my parents would always think that it was so cute how I would sit in my room and I would imagine that I have this whole class in front of me and I was the teacher and I was studying and I was like, so A plus blah blah. It was so funny, but I loved it, and I was able to actually understand what I was saying because I was trying to explain it to someone. So do that. And yeah, that's all for my method or my strategy to study. Trust me, it has been very effective and it hasn't failed me not even once in my whole, ever since I figured out this strategy, it hasn't failed me not even once. But you have to take all the steps. Like I can't, sometimes I'm like, let me just not write all my notes because it's the part that takes the longest, and sometimes I get lazy and all, and whenever I decide to not do it or maybe do it just quickly and not go through all the everything and do the whole thing properly, believe me, it shows. And so many times I was just so late, and maybe even sometimes I've had to start writing my notes in the middle of the night when I was supposed to, like when I woke up to supposedly memorize what I had written in those notes that I didn't do properly. Trust me, I felt like it wasn't working because I didn't get all the information because I didn't do it properly. And in the middle of the night, like literally hours before the exam at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I would start writing my notes quickly and then go through the whole process. So trust me, you have to do it all and it just works wonderful. Now, maybe you know yourself and you're like, I don't know about the whole, going through the whole textbook and doing the notes and all the, you feel like that won't work for yourself because you know yourself, then maybe don't do that part. I mean, you can do it all. Or maybe you can take whatever you feel like it works. You take the inspiration and use it for your method. I mean, this is the method that I found that works for me, but it's something that I had to figure out over, years of being a student. Way back when I didn't know about this strategy, I would just study the old-fashioned way, grab the textbook and read it and just try to memorize it just off the textbook. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it did not. And so through experience and trial and error, trying different techniques, watching YouTube videos of people, I figured out my own way. So maybe you're just still young. I don't know how old are you were listening to this, but maybe you're still young and you have many years ahead of you and you're going to be figuring it out. You just have to try. I know it's risky because one is like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to have to try because it's my grade that is at stake. But, we have to. Some sacrifices have to be made in order to achieve success. So, yeah. Just try. Maybe you don't like the notes part, but you do like the whole waking up early because you feel like maybe it could work for me. You can study the night before and you do it just the way you do it always, and then you wake up an hour earlier. Trust me, you're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna fall asleep, I can't wake up, blah, blah, blah. I'm that kind of person, but trust me, when you are worried about your grade, whenever the alarm goes off, I turn it off and then I'm like, oh, I want to sleep, but then my brain is like, you're gonna fail if you fall asleep, and I wake up right away because it's just the fear of failing it gets you right up. So try different techniques and I'm sure you're gonna find the ideal one for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was different. It's not something that I'm used to, creating. Obviously, this is the first episode of the podcast, but normally my content in YouTube, it tends to be more lifestyle and, morning routines, night routines, getting my life together, things like that. But I'm a student, and in all these routines, I always incorporate my studying routine and things like that because it's part of my day-to-day life. And it's It's something that I'm going through right now, and I know that a lot of people are. So yeah, I just thought that it was interesting to share this. Maybe I can help with it someone. I hope that someone is you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!